Hello, everybody. Can you all see me all right? Let me put this light on here. Can you see me and hear me all right? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Audio and video good? Yes? All right. Welcome. So while we wait for some people to show up and say hello, and while we're doing that, go ahead, feel free to let us know where you're visiting us from. It seems like all askew, doesn't it? This is my camera. Yeah, where are you guys from? Yeah, that's some Danish right there. Netherlands, Portugal, Clayton, New York, Northern Ireland, currently in Brazil, Israel. Wow, Los Angeles. Wow, you got everybody. Los Angeles. What time is it over there? 7 in the morning. Wow. Luxembourg, Germany, Oklahoma, Ontario, Canada, Miami, Oakland, Romania, Georgia, Austin, Texas. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm doing, I'm streaming on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So I'm taking things to another level with the live streaming. I still have to work out like the audio because I want to do these where I can play and get a good sound, but I'm not there yet. So soon I'll do some live streaming where I play stuff. But, wow, a lot of comments. Australia, England, Goa, London, UK, Sweden. Wow. Greece, Florida, Germany. Great. Hungary. Good to have you all here from so many places. I'm in Nice, France. Anybody in France? A lot of people in France watch me. Probably because I do everything in English. But Serbia, wow, cool. Poland, Nigeria, okay. Anybody from Asia? Iceland, Saudi Arabia. Because if we had, yeah, well, we got people from South America, North America, Europe, Africa, Australia, and Denmark, Philippines. So yeah, we got Philippines. So we got basically all the continents represented here. This is great. All right. Well, I'm very happy to have you guys here and doing this. So my friend Daniel Chia, I don't know if you guys know Daniel Chia. Oh, Marseille. Salut, Marseille. I don't know if you guys in Italy, ciao. And in Daniel Chia, he's in Singapore actually, and he turned me on to this StreamYard app thing, which I'm using for the first time as a host. And it's actually cool because you can have guests and you can do all this stuff. So I'm promising you right now, because I'm really into this thing. I'm going to do live streams with guests. I don't have a guest today, but I will. Okay. And I'll line up some really cool people, and we're just going to like talk about saxophone. How does that sound? Who would be into checking out me with like legendary saxophone players just talking about saxophone live? Yeah, my StreamYard is cool. Like this is like, up until now, live streaming has been such a pain. Like nothing works, and I'm like always panicking, or I start the live stream and I sound like a robot, or all these problems. So far, first try, and it's looking good on Facebook and YouTube. Instagram, unfortunately, doesn't allow, you can't do multi-streams to Instagram. So, let me go on Instagram. I'm just going to put, the Instagram people are going to be missing out because they, I'm not going to like pay attention to their comments. And this is, all right, I have to hit the plus, then I have to hit, how do I go live on Instagram again? More. No, they keep changing it. Go live. There we go. I found it. Thanks. Selfie cam. Okay. Now we're live on Instagram as well, but they don't get to chat. And I can see all you guys' comments. And this is really cool. I could do this. Like, I could put, wow, cool profile picture, Mark. I could take people's comments and just throw them up on the screen like that. And it looks really good. So that's fun. So while more people are showing up, let's make a couple quick announcements. Okay. And you're all here for the announcing the winners of the JodyJazz. Hey, there's Daniel right there. See, this is my friend Daniel, who is a great saxophone player, and he does these live streams, and he with like great saxophone players all the time. And so we did a live stream the other day with Jody Espino, who is from JodyJazz, who makes these mouthpieces. That was great. You can go check it out, the replay. Anyways, Daniel, thank you for hooking me up with the StreamYard. Looks good. Yeah. So a couple of, so I'm still learning where all the buttons are. Let's do a couple quick announcements. I just wanted to let you know, you probably already seen this. In case you were not aware, my Pentatonic Foundation course is on sale this week. You can use the coupon. This is fine. I got all these things. You can use the coupon code PENTUP2. So this is a course. It's like, if you're just starting, if you've never played songs by ear and you never really improvised before, this is the place to start. And it's like 30% off at the moment. So, and I could also do this. Watch this. I'm going to put this code, the link directly in the chat. And if you click that link, it'll take you straight with the coupon code, and you could just like get that course. So again, that's for people never played songs by ear, but want to, never started improvising. That's really a great fun place to get started with that. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is Better Tracks. Who has been to Better Tracks, and who has like played over some of my new backing tracks from bettertracks.com, or who's heard the Better Tracks on YouTube, the videos I've been putting on YouTube. So that's, hold on, HTTP Better Tracks. Oops, spell it right. If you haven't, there's the link for that. And yeah, so that's just fun backing tracks. And I've got more. I've got a new collection coming out soon. Over on Better Tracks, if you use that coupon code launch20, you get 20% off the collections. So that's that. I want to ask Daniel. I wish I could see. I'm pretty sure there's a way to do this. I can't see how many people are watching, but oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, so look at this. Yeah, Richard, thank you, Richard. Appreciate that. I'm glad. I've been having so much fun playing over those too. Right. Yeah, and like, so Vinny says, I'm not the level to play with backing tracks. I mean, for backing tracks, you don't have to be like shredding. You could just play the melodies over those, and you can improvise very simply. And that, for a lot of people, that's like the starting point. Like, you don't hold yourself back too much. Don't get in there and play. Oh, thank you for telling me how many people are watching. Get in there and play those things. Okay, I don't think my Instagram live worked, but that's okay. All right, let's hide that for now. Okay, who wants to know if they won? I think that's why you're all here. You want to know if you won one of these custom dark mouthpieces. Which one of these, tell me in the chat, which one of these mouthpieces you'd like to win. This is the alto. This is the soprano. Hold on, I have to go like this. This is the tenor and soprano. Which ones you guys want to win? If you had, if you could choose right now, which one would it be? For me, my favorite is, well, I like all three, but the one I'm going to be playing on all the time is the soprano. Because I love the soprano. But the alto and the tenor are really cool too. And on alto, I didn't even talk about this, but where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. So this is coming very soon. This is the new Better Sax mouthpiece. It's coming very soon. And man, it plays so great. It is just so much fun to play. Anyway, more coming on this. These are in production right now. It's a hard rubber mouthpiece, hand finished. It's got, I mean, it's like perfect. It's got this nice, let me see if you can see that. It's got this nice rollover baffle in it going into a nice large, probably can't see so well, a nice large chamber. So it like balances out. It's great. I'm going to be making a video in great detail, everything you could ever want to know about that. What are the Better Sax alto mouthpieces compared to? Honestly, when I made that when I was designing that mouthpiece, the idea was I just kind of thought of all of my favorite mouthpieces, like the things about my favorite mouthpieces. And if you kind of combine them into one thing. So it's not based on like a specific existing design. It's kind of like, oh, let's take this and this and this. These are the things that my favorite mouthpieces have. Let's make something kind of like that. And I'm just amazed at how good it came out. I mean, it's beyond, oh no, I see where the people are. It's beyond my expectations. So These are already in production, but I'm waiting because I'm going to start taking orders on them when everything is just right in place, because I don't want you guys to have to wait too long once you've placed your order. But we're looking at in like a month, they'll be shipping out in probably about a little over a month, let's say. And the price, I see someone is asking how much. The price is going to be $249. They're going to be just available in the States at first, once we catch up on production and everything, we will work on getting them available in other places. And dark sound, it's the sort of sound that I like in mouthpieces, especially on alto, is something that's powerful and has like a range of, a spectrum. So you can get a beautiful dark sound on it, but it's also got a lot of power and can cut. So it's something like if you're going to be playing lead alto in a big band or jazz gigs or you could also play like the sort of popular music where you need to be heard as well. It's very much middle or like a little bright of center, we could call it. All right. So that's like my ideal for alto mouthpieces. Okay. Enough of that. Let's announce the winners. Now there's 2 winners. Let me get rid of this banner here. There's going to be 2 winners today. And I've already got them here. The second place winner, and both of the names today are hard to pronounce, so I apologize in advance. Second place winner is from Norway, Notodden, Norway, and it's Jorund Rundhovde. So my Norwegian is not very good. Jorund Rundhovde, and from Notodden, Norway. Congratulations. You get your choice of HR Custom Dark mouthpiece. You can choose from alto, tenor, soprano, and you get your choice of tip opening. We're going to send you an email. I wonder, let me see if he's watching. Good game. It's not over yet. There's another winner. You get, and listen, and this goes for anybody, and this is pretty much for any mouthpiece giveaway we're going to do this one and in the future. If you win and you don't know what to get, like when you get your email, just say, which mouthpiece, which tip opening should I get, and we will help you. If they're not watching, you should have a redraw. Well, that wouldn't be fair. What if they're at work, Okay. Congratulations to Jorund. Now, first place. Okay. And after I announce first place, I'm going to take questions. So if you guys got some questions, I'll take questions for like 15 minutes. I always go longer. So if you have questions about the mouthpiece or anything else, saxophone stuff, now's your chance. Okay, so let's get rid of that one. And now, first place winner, another difficult name for me. Well, actually not so hard to pronounce. First place winner from Dublin, not Ireland though, Dublin, California in the United States, Vivek Moorkoth. Vivek. Congratulations to you. You won first place. You're going to get an email. And for everyone who didn't win, thank you for participating. More giveaways coming soon. Let me know in the comments what you'd like given away. And I promise when the Better Sax burn-in alto mouthpiece is available, I will give a couple of those away for sure. But what else would you guys like to win? Let me know in the comments. I've got, for example, and it's been a while, I've got a giveaway on some nice ligatures coming up soon. We could do a giveaway on Better Sax courses. Barry Sax next giveaway. Oh yeah, Yanagisao. Yeah, okay. I would love to, but it's Oh yeah, private lessons. Yeah, somebody actually mentioned that earlier. That's actually a good idea. I don't know how many people. I don't know if I'd get 40,000 entries to take a private lesson with me, but yeah, and Better Sax. Once we catch up on the Better Sax production, there will be Better Sax giveaways. But right now, it's tough to get things imported because there is like a container shortage, a worldwide container shortage, apparently. So things are behind. But yes, my piano, more mouthpieces. Yeah, mouthpieces are good because they're easy to ship and get to all over the world. Saxophones. When we did the giveaways with all the prototype Better Sax saxophones, it was tough to get them. Because they always want to charge import duties or different countries and things. Reeds are also easy to do. Yeah, courses are really easy to get to anybody wherever you are. I should do more course giveaways. P. Moriette curved soprano saxophone. Okay, well, if P. Moriette wants to send me a saxophone, maybe. Yeah. Better sax reeds. Maybe one day. Who knows? More mouthpieces. Mouthpieces are good. Everybody needs more mouthpieces, right? And listen, official Q&A time. So if you have a question, you could start throwing it up there, and I'll choose some and do my best to answer. I tend to play reeds too long. Okay, good question. So when you say you tend to play reeds too long, how do you know you're playing them too long? Sometimes I play on a reed for months, a good reed. If what I do is I start with reeds that are too hard, like a 3.5, let's say, and it'll break in over the course of a week, me playing it every day, even if it's 5 minutes a day for a week. Then I'll start playing it and it'll soften up in that time. And then I'll start playing on it. And once it gets broken in after about a week, a lot of those reeds I can play for a good month every day, no problem. So if you start with a softer reed, you might get a day or two. If I play on a 2.5, I might be able to get a really good sound straight away. But after a couple hours of playing on it, it's not really doing it anymore. Let's see what else. Oh, let me get rid of that banner there. Cool. So, good question. Will you bring that series where you analyze our videos? I'm up for that. When you're doing YouTube videos, it's like you're always trying to come up with the thing that interests the most people and is entertaining to the most people. Often, the best quality content is not always the thing that gets watched the most, But yeah, I'm up for that. I am starting a new thing for Better Sax members, and I'm assuming probably a lot of you watching are Better Sax members. So I'll tell you, giving you a sneak preview. It's coming very soon, like next month, and it's going to be like a subscription service where you get like assignments, and you get to we're learning more advanced improvisation stuff, and it's all in the Better Sax members area, and for a very reasonable price each month, you get to submit videos and get feedback, or just audio and get feedback on that. So it's not exactly private lessons, but it's the next best thing, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to start out like just invitation only as I start getting it going. So the people who are already members and have already bought courses and are already kind of in that Better Sax members area, I'm going to send some invites out there. And then once it gets rolling and it's working really good, I'll make it more public. Yeah. And So let's see. And now, the one annoying thing, I'm going to have to ask Daniel, how do I find the things? Okay. Let's see. Favorite alto player. Sonny Stitt. I love Sonny Stitt, and I love Cannonball. Okay. I mean, my favorite modern, like living, active, playing alto player is probably Vincent Herring. So, I can listen to Vincent Herring all day long. But yeah, great question. What's everybody's favorite alto player? Put it in the. I mean, I love. Who else do I watch my video on top 10 alto players. But that video is all like from before, from the 60s or earlier. Let's see. Gerald Albright is bad. What? Okay, this is interesting. What got you started? And this is from Adam. What got you started on the Better Sax channel? What was your motivation? It's so funny, I had no intention of being a YouTuber whatsoever. I didn't even watch YouTube. And I started making my courses, and then I need a way to tell people about these. So I started making YouTube videos, and then it just kind of took off. I mean, it took off slowly, but it did take off. And then I learned how powerful YouTube was, and how amazing, what a crazy tool it was. And I was like, wow. And now I watch YouTube a lot, and I've learned pretty much every part of what I do. I've learned to do it on YouTube. Like anything that I didn't already know, like about, obviously not the saxophone part, but like everything else, the production and making the content and everything, and a lot of the stuff with the computer and video editing and lighting and all that stuff I learned on YouTube. So why not learn saxophone? Okay, this is an interesting question. Do you have any tips? This is from Paolo. Paolo Gian Pietro Agapito. I love it. Do you have any tips about storing reeds without them drying, warping out? So this is interesting. I'm thinking about making a video about this. So recently I've had a bunch of reeds that I've been testing, like a ton, dozens and dozens of reeds that I've been testing. I don't have any room in reed cases for them. And I tested like 100 reeds or something, and I don't have any room for them. So I just left them out on a table, and they've been there for like, weeks, maybe months now. And I just pick one up and I play it, and you know what? They play great. So drying out, it's not a problem. In fact, and if you're using a Reed Geek, let me get my Reed Geek for you. If you're using one of these, this is the Geeklet that you can get on bettersax.com. If you're using one of these, it kind of solves a lot of the problems. When you have reeds, I let them dry out now. I used to keep them in all these cases with the moisture and everything. You know what ended up happening? That I just had moldy reeds all the time. And I don't like black moldy reeds. So now my used reeds don't get moldy. And they play great, and maybe even better than when I used to keep them wet. I know a lot of people say, keep your reeds wet, keep them in a plastic Ziploc bag in water and Listerine and all this. So I don't even do it. And now you need a reed case if you're going to get your, if you're going to leave the house, right? But these days I'm not leaving the house very much, am I? So I have my reed cases for when I have to go and do rehearsals or gigs, whatever. But just lying around when I'm testing reeds, I'm just leaving them on the table. They'll play great. So I'm going to do a video about this and let the world know that a lot of that stuff with the reeds is, I don't know. It's not I don't worry about it so much. They play great. The taking care of the reed, flattening the table, that's, that does it. So, do I rinse them after a gig? Somebody says, do you rinse them after a gig? No, I dry them. I wipe off whatever moisture, mainly on the back, and I put it back in my reed case. But another thing I've learned is keeping your reeds in a reed case inside a saxophone case. That's something that will contribute to like that moldiness if your saxophone case is airtight, like mine are. So it's a good idea. Try this. I recommend you all try this. Take your reed case, put it in an outside pocket of your case if you've got it, or somewhere else that's not airtight. Take your swabs and do the same thing. You will not get any mold or mustiness in your case from the moisture. And, so you're swabbing out your whole saxophone, getting all the moisture out. Then it's on your swabs. Don't put the swabs in the case, because when you close it, it just gets all musty. So that is something I've learned over the last few years, and it's improved everything. Okay, good question. Why does one step up to a harder reed, like from a 2 to a 2.5? Good question, Paul. If you're, developing your embouchure in the beginning, so we say use a softer reed. 2 is quite soft, especially if you're using like a Yamaha 4C mouthpiece. That's pretty soft. That might be something I would say for people, start with that 2 reed, maybe on the first day or a couple of days. And once you kind of can get a sound consistently, go to that 2.5 on that small tip opening mouthpiece right away. So Paul, if you've been playing for a couple of days, go to a 2.5 already. Because that's, on that small tip opening mouthpiece, that 2.5 is still quite soft. And then you're going to want to, as you develop the strength, the muscles here, all in your face, your embouchure muscles are all, a lot up in your cheeks, and you're all in here, your chin. Once you kind of develop strength there, you're going to be able to go up in reed strength. But, that's going to come from playing every day. So a lot of people are not necessarily playing every single day or, most days. And that, that's like an obstacle to moving up to harder reeds. But good question. Thanks, Paul. Okay. Tips, on how much jaw pressure should be used. Oh, okay. This is a good question. Hard. Okay. So Patty Funk says tips on how much jaw pressure should be used on tenor playing JodyJazz HR Star 8. 8 with 8 star, I guess, with a Rico Royal 3.5S. Too little pressure, I lose response. Too much, I go sharp. Any advice? Okay. Let me think about this. So 8 stars, you're getting up into the larger tip openings. 3.5S, now you're pairing that with maybe a slightly too hard reed. So what I would first say is my advice to you would just start experimenting with other reeds, experimenting with some softer reeds. At first, it's going to be like, oh, I can't do this. Make yourself play a 3, a Rico Royal 3. Make yourself play a 2.5 for a week and get used to it and get a good, and you'll learn a lot from that process. And what might happen is at first that 3 or that 2.5 will feel really soft, but after a week, when you go back to the 3.5, you're like, actually, no, it felt better. So try it. Everyone should experiment with different strength reeds, and even different tip openings from time to time, if you're not really happy with the results you're getting. So that'd be the first easy thing to do. Try different strength reeds. Having said that, I'm more about like pushing your mouthpiece in further and getting a more relaxed embouchure. Always. Because the tendency is always going to kind of be to play sharp and to bite. And once you start biting, you lose control and you lose quality of the sound. And yes, you do go sharp. So hope that helped in some way. This is a good question from Fleischman. When should I get a better mouthpiece for jazz? Well, depends on what mouthpiece you got now. And I can answer this. I answered a form of this question every day, multiple times. The first thing you need is the sound concept first, like what your sound you want it to be, because and you need to develop the physicality of the embouchure and getting that sound, and that's why if you give a Yamaha 4C mouthpiece to somebody who's got a really good sound, they're still going to sound really good. So it's not just about the mouthpiece. The most important thing is that sound concept and developing your own personal sound. So the answer to that question would be get a better mouthpiece when you've been listening to some great saxophone players that inspire you and you kind of got an idea of the sound you want to go for and you're kind of clear on that. And when you're practicing daily and you're developing a sound on your own, at that point, you're probably ready. It doesn't mean you have to go out and get one right away. But at that point, okay, now you're getting ready to where that upgraded mouthpiece is gonna really help you. So I hope that helped. Interesting. What is your favorite note on alto or tenor saxophone? I don't know. I can't possibly answer that. Sorry, I thought I would come up with something, but I don't have. I like them all. I like them all. I guess I have some notes that I don't like because they're harder to play in tune. But new comments. Oh, wait, I saw something. This is a good one. Get damaged with a hole. Okay. All right. Very good. Majid, I think that's how you pronounce your name. My mouthpiece patches get damaged with a hole on them after a few days of playing. Does it mean that I'm biting it too hard? How long should they normally last? Yeah. So, this is something that used to happen to me a long time ago, before I kind of figured out how to really get a more relaxed embouchure. And so, yes, if you are biting through your mouthpiece patches, you are biting too hard. I think most mouthpiece patches, and I have so many different mouthpieces, and and all different types of patches on them all. We got all of them. Most mouthpiece patches are well enough resistant that you shouldn't be able to bite through them if you've got a nice relaxed embouchure that's not biting too hard. You're going to get marks. Let me look at the mouthpiece that I've been playing this. I played this very little, but you're always going to get little marks on it. Maybe I played this, 10 hours or something. Okay. You're going to get a little indent, but that, with the way I play, that's never going to turn into a hole. I mean, in years, it won't turn into a hole. So that's a good indication. So work towards loosening up. And a good way to kind of loosen up is go down to softer reeds, and kind of force yourself to play a little bit more relaxed, and long tones. That long tone exercise where if you do this every day, you're going to build strength. I made a YouTube video about this. If you do this long tone exercise where you keep your embouchure set, you breathe in through your nose and you play every note on the saxophone, but never break your embouchure. Do that every day. And after a couple months, you will have a completely different sound. Okay, thanks for that. Okay. Jonathan, thinking to get back into music and buy a sax. A bit nervous, been many years since I've played trumpet and clarinet and have always wanted a sax. I'm turning 40 soon. Not sure if I should. Thoughts? Okay. I made a video about this because this is a question I get asked a lot. Am I too old to play the saxophone? I mean, and absolutely not. Or any real instrument. And 40 is not even old nowadays. I mean, right? I mean, 40 is like you might have another 50 or more years easy ahead of you, and we need stuff to do at that time, right? So music is definitely a great thing, and you can learn. The best part about learning something new in the beginning is that, like, the learning curve in the beginning, you can learn so much. Like in the beginning, you learn a lot really fast, and you improve so much. It's when you've been playing for 30 years that's like, it's so hard to get better. So it takes a lot of work to improve a little bit. So the beginning part of taking up a new instrument is the most fun because you go from being zero to being like, not bad in a year or something. So yeah, do it. You'll be glad you did. Have you played an AIM2? Well, I haven't played on that mic. Okay, this is a very good question. Does the saxophone neck really make much of a difference? I noticed there are several different sizes. Okay, so the saxophone neck does make a difference. The further you get up, so the player makes the most difference. The further away from the human you get, the less difference things make in general. So after the player is the mouthpiece and reed, that has a very big impact on the sound. The neck coming right after that also has an impact on the sound. Think about it. Every single note on the instrument is passing through that neck, whereas some notes on a saxophone, like if you play a C at a saxophone, this is the first open hole right here. So you're only dealing with this much of the instrument, right? And the rest of this has very little impact on that C because, that's the end of the tube right there. So yeah, the neck has a tremendous impact, not as much as the mouthpiece, not as much as the player. It's the sort of thing that I wouldn't worry about, like getting an upgraded neck until you've got a really well-developed sound. You know what you want to sound like. You're comfortable on, you've been playing for many years, because most of the necks that come with saxophones are perfectly good. And you wouldn't really necessarily notice the difference until you were, at quite a high level. But yeah, good question and fair to ask that. Okay, Paul. So this is on the same thing. You're saying I have a JodyJazz mouthpiece. Would a different neck for my Jean Paul alto be the next step? No, I would say no. Because, you're looking at, for an upgraded neck, you're looking at, around the cost of the saxophone itself. And in some cases, that can be okay. But, I would just play on that Jean Paul until you're ready to upgrade that whole saxophone to something, to more of a, like an intermediate, or if you have the budget, like a professional horn. And that could be years from now, because that Jean Paul should get you through, several years at least of no problem. I mean, you could play it forever, really, if you take good care of it. So no, I wouldn't recommend necessarily getting a neck. I would recommend doing, practicing a lot. Let's see. This is a good question. Hey, you guys got great questions today. Are there any advanced techniques? This is from Pat Bass, or Bass. Besides altissimo, multiphonics, and slap tonguing that you would say are necessary for the modern sax player? Honestly, slap tonguing and multiphonics, I don't think are necessary at all. I can't really do either one of those and I mean, I can do multiphonics, but I mean, those are pretty easy. But, you know, there's almost no situation where I would ever want to use multiphonics. Slap tonguing is super fun, but it's, you know, it takes a lot of time to get it down. And you just have to at some point decide, all right, I want to spend the hours necessary to get that down. You know, Derek Brown, you know, when I did my interview with him, he said, "Oh, but it's so much fun. It's so worth it." You know, but like, yeah, some people say, "Oh, do I need to circular breathe?" No, you'll never need that. That's that's like a party trick. You would never really need that unless, except, you know, Ben Wendell told this story. He learned to circular breathe only because he was having like a problem with his lungs and he had limited air capacity. So he had to learn how to circular breathe in order just to play normally. Outside of that, there's no necessity for circular breathing. Multiphonic slap tonguing, yeah, it's super fun. I wish I could do it. One day maybe I'll learn it, but you don't need it. Altissimo, and altissimo is not even necessary. There's lots of great players who never ever play an altissimo note, and we don't feel like we're missing anything. But I think altissimo is probably the first extended technique that you should explore, because the practice of learning altissimo helps the rest of the saxophone. It helps your sound, it helps your embouchure, it helps your control, your intonation. It helps in so many ways, the process of learning altissimo. So that would be the one extended technique that it's not necessary, but yeah, you should work on it. And it's, you know, it's not that hard. It's pretty accessible to everybody. Huh. Do you play clarinet? I used to play clarinet. Clarinet was somebody called it the pain stick or something. I don't know, something. I mean, it's like for saxophone players, clarinet is just like, oh, do I have to? I love the clarinet as an instrument, but it's a challenge and you got to put a lot of time into it. So now I put it aside, and I just don't have the time to play it anymore and put the time necessary into it. I tried lots of different mouthpieces. Again, if you want to be a good clarinet player, you got to play clarinet every day for a couple hours, and then you're going to make any mouthpiece sound pretty good. Start with something basic and get a good sound on that and get the intonation together. For saxophone players, the trick on clarinet, especially for someone like me, you need the instrument is designed for like a tighter embouchure. So it's very different than my saxophone embouchure, which is really relaxed and loose. So for me not to be flat on a clarinet, it feels like I'm biting so hard, and I have to get the shortest barrel that they can make, so that's another issue for me on clarinet. I just want to make the clarinet like an inch shorter for me so I can play it in tune without having to bite so hard. Okay, interesting question. Power, yeah. Oh wait, where did I put it? Power ring. So yeah, I got this power ring on this mouthpiece. I've got some of these, and I'm trying out. I have to. That's interesting you say that. I don't do a lot of ligature tests like this. Does this ligature help more? Does this add weights down? But I probably should. I kind of dismiss ligatures as just being the thing that holds your reed on there. And for me, I have this sort of policy that like you're saying to yourself, am I imagining it? If I have to ask myself, am I imagining it? Then the difference is not big enough. It's just not, if I'm not 100% sure it's better, or even like 80% sure that it's better, it's not, maybe it's not. So it's not worth it. I like to focus on the things that are like, wow, this is very clearly, there's no question, this is better. So mouthpieces do that for me. Some necks can do that for me. Obviously, different saxophones, you could tell, oh, this is better. This is better. But things like resonators, how are we going to tell? Things like, all these little things, even, like I have these screws on my saxophone. because, Yanni Gassawa sent them to me, and I like how they feel and everything. They're cool. But I can't tell you 100%, oh, it makes it better or worse. I can't. So I just have it on there because I like having the big screw on there. And I think it looks, I don't know, it's something to look at. But it's not because I know 100% that this is improving things. Same goes for the ligatures. So maybe you're imagining it. It's okay if you're imagining it too. Having said that, I do like this ligature because it's different and it's like a perfect fit. So the drawback for a ligature like this is only going to fit on like one, on certain mouthpieces because it's a perfect fit. So you can't adjust it to work on lots of different mouthpieces. So, and this is actually kind of new to me on alto. I need to play on it some more, and then I can answer that question better. Okay. Let's see. And since as long as there's still loads of people watching, so I'm going to answer a few more questions. I'm going to stop on the hour. Okay. Wow, a lot of good questions. Where was that one? Okay. This is Majid again. The neck of my alto sax does not get fixed on the body and it moves around. Is it really a problem and I have to fix, or can I fix myself? Okay. So I think I know what you're saying. You're saying that when you've got your neck on here, even when this is all the way tightened, like this might move back and forth. That happens on one of my saxophones, my older saxophones. That's something that happens on instruments that maybe aren't, that have gotten a lot of use and maybe, been around for a while. But if you take really good care of your saxophone, that shouldn't happen. And you always want to be taking your neck off and putting that on with the mouthpiece already on it. So it's not a good habit to be doing that, putting the mouthpiece on the neck, because now I'm kind of putting pressure on that. That's not good for your neck and the tenon. So always, take your mouthpiece, first put the mouthpiece on the neck, get it kind of where you want it, then put that in straight, and same, and then tighten it up. And same when you take it off, just, undo that and then take that off. And then take your mouthpiece off. If it's swinging around like that, that's also the sort of thing that I think over time, it's going to tend to get slightly worse as well, over a long period of time. It's also not, sometimes it's easy to fix, but it's not like, it's the sort of thing you don't want to have to fix on saxophones, because it means either expanding the tenon of your neck, which is kind of changing the shape slightly, or making it so that this part tightens more. So either way, you're kind of making you're changing something here, which we don't always want to do if we can avoid it. But if you're playing and that's swinging around, it's really annoying. So you cannot fix it yourself, to answer that question. No way. And if you do bring it to someone to fix it, make sure you bring it to a good technician, like someone who's got some serious tools and can do it right, because that's something that a lot of people have done not a good job on. So, whenever if you're going to be expanding this, it's got to be done perfectly. Otherwise, otherwise you're not going to have a perfect fit when you're putting that back in there, and it's just going to get worse and worse. So that's my answer to that. Let's see. Okay, good question. Do you know what is the best way of cleaning a one-piece straight soprano sax? I got a soprano body swab stuck in the neck of mine a couple times due to the narrow neck. Okay, so good question. I don't have a one-piece soprano sax, but if I did, there's a couple things you can do. First, you get a silk swab. because the silk swabs will really compress a lot and won't get stuck generally. And you could test it out, put it through your mouthpiece first. If it goes through your mouthpiece, it's going to go through the neck. The other thing you could do is they make these swabs that have cords at both ends, weighted cords at both ends. So you put one end through and it's on the smaller end, and you pull that all the way through, and then you could pull it back through the other side. So get one of those swabs. Oh yeah, what's your opinion on heavy maskers? I just kind of covered that. I don't know if they really do anything. Anything that I have to ask myself is it my imagination? Is like, I'd rather stick with things that I know for sure are making a difference. Okay, someone's asking this, diaphragm vibrato, a bad habit, and what is the difference between that and the embouchure vibrato? Okay, diaphragm vibrato is like where you're kind of changing the speed of the air, and that's how you do vibrato on flutes, for example. And that's not a good thing on saxophone, because you're kind of speeding up and slowing down your airstream. It's not great. Why is it okay to do on flute but not on saxophone? I don't know. I guess on flute there's no real resistance. You're not having to keep a reed vibrating, so you need a lot more air support. Well, I wouldn't say you need more air support on saxophone, but there's this resistance with the reed. So if you are speeding it up and slowing it down, that airspeed, it's not desirable. I made a video about vibrato, teaching how you learn the saxophone vibrato with the jaw vibrato. So go watch that, and that answers that question. Oops. Okay, this is a good question. A question I get asked quite a lot. Deepak, I've been playing alto for just under a year. I want to learn tenor too. Should I also add a tenor now, or wait some more time? Sometimes I ask questions like this all the time. It's because, if I were asked that question, like if I was just playing saxophone for a year, I'd be like, I want someone to tell me, yes, buy a tenor, because I want to get a tenor, I do that all the time. Like, should I get one of these? You're just looking for like someone else's approval, like to give you permission to buy it. So yeah, if you really want a tenor, buy one. There's no pedagogical reason why you shouldn't have a tenor saxophone. This is something you might have heard at other places. We're like, just know, like I can't possibly play all of my saxophones. I still love them all. And whenever I sold saxophones, I always regret it. You can only, have space in your house for so many instruments, though, at the end of the day. And some instruments are going to get neglected the more you have. If you do get a tenor, just make sure you're going to play it, and it's not going to be a waste. But if you want to get a tenor, then get a tenor. And what I recommend people, when you really want to develop sound and technique and stuff, it's good to stick with one instrument for a while, not forever, maybe at least a week at a time or a month at a time on that one instrument. So that, you can kind of build on what you did the day before without having to readjust so much. Having said that, I'm changing all the time, and that is having that flexibility. I can play tenor and alto and whatever, or soprano and baritone. The more I change up, the easier it is to switch and the less adjustment time there is. But it just takes, time. If you have the time to play them both. But yeah, get a tenor. Where does an unwanted growling? Okay. Good question. Where does an unwanted growling sound from? I'd have to hear exactly what you're doing, but maybe I know exactly what you're talking about. An unwanted growling sound that I have experienced comes from like a closed throat. And and kind of, forcing the air through. So, and kind of pushing from more like up here rather than down here. So, that's something you can kind of isolate with long tones, and playing your long tones at a full volume and listening very carefully. And if you're having that, you'll find, if you're getting that growling sound that I think you're getting, you'll probably be like, I'm really tightening up my throat. Always let the air do the work of making the sound. It's a natural tendency to like try to produce the sound up here with the embouchure, with the throat, but that we don't produce the sound here. The air is doing the work. This is kind of shaping the airstream and what's the pressure on the reed. So if you let the air do the work and kind of let everything else get out of the way, that usually helps improve the sounds. Okay, a couple more questions and then we'll go. Okay. On what reed do you recommend for a 301 a size 7 mouthpiece? I'm currently using a Van Doren 3 reed on a. I mean, you can use that. You can use that reed, and on a 7, I would probably use a 3 most of the time. So that can work, but like I said earlier, experiment with different reed strengths and different reed brands. It's finding the right match for you, the way you play, the way your embouchure is, and that mouthpiece. It's experimenting. Some days a 3 is going to be the best choice, and some days a 2.5 might be the best choice. Okay, one more. Oh, somebody's asking me. This is a local question. Can you recommend a shop around Antibes to fix my sax? From Matthias. Matthias, I do all my own repairs here, and I don't repair other people's saxophones before you ask. But there's a guy in Nice. His name is Vincent. Go see Vincent. It's called l'atelier Atelier des Vents, I think. Okay. Last question. What's going to be the last question? Okay, this is a good one to end on. I love your videos about influential saxophone players through history. What are some modern players you recommend? Good, and we should all be looking for new people to listen to, what modern or vintage, because the listening is really the key to all of this. So I love to listen to lots of players, but just off the top of my head, I mentioned earlier Vincent Herring. Vincent Herring is great to listen to. A lot of tradition in there, a good mix of like some modern playing as well. I love Eric Alexander for a lot of the same reasons. Lots of tradition. I heavily studied the tradition and kind of mastered all of that, and then getting their own individual sound and style, which is really like the ultimate goal for anybody, right? In this music. So there's two. I love Miguel Zenon. Miguel Zenon is, oh man, it's so good. Check out, and he's not as well known for whatever reason, I think, but man, Miguel Zenon. I'll write that in the chat. I'll write these names down in case. Sorry, it's all caps. Check out Miguel Zenon. Check out Vincent Herring. Check out, and these are all active players today. Eric Alexander. These are all people that are, you're not going to see them so much on Instagram and stuff. They're not that generation. I mean, they are on there, but, is English my first language? Well, yeah, I hope I hope it sounds like it is. Yeah, Chad is great. I mean, everybody knows Chad because he's all over the internet. But yeah, I love Chad's playing. I mean, there's just so many. Those are just three off the top of my head. I mean, I could just list players forever. Yeah, I mean, and then Grace is great. This is the thing. So a lot of people nowadays with social media is fantastic. But like for me, it's weird that a lot of people know me more than they know like those names I just mentioned. You know, those are great saxophone players. I'm just present on the internet, and that's why people know me. But really, we should know more about these other people. Braxton Cook, yeah, great. Antonio Hart, yeah, Antonio was my teacher when I went to Queens College. So Gerald Albright, yeah, you said Gerald Albright earlier. Leo, yeah. Dave Pollock, yeah, again, but these are all, we're talking about a lot of Instagram people or YouTube people, which is great. Everett Harp, yeah, so that's somebody who's not on social media, great player. And it depends on really what you're looking for. Well, oh yeah, so I was the first sax player. So this is great. So Nate says, I was the first sax player I heard when I started sax. So, and I think for me, that's great. It means a lot to me. I love to hear that. And I hope through watching me, you got the message to go and listen to these other players. I really hope, you're doing that. Okay, good. So thanks everybody. We're going to stop there. And it's great that so many of you are like listening to me blab about saxophone for all this for an hour. But I appreciate you all being here. Congratulations to the winners, and talk to you guys very soon. And I got working on a new YouTube video, so check out that next week. And yeah, bye everybody.